Hello everybody, I'm Mr. O and I will be here showing you your week 1 daily geography. The design of these videos is to give you a little bit of an edge on your questions for the week and giving you some support and some help walking through things from maybe a different angle so that you are going to be able to get a 10 out of 10 every single week if you watch these videos on your daily geography. So let's get after it. This is week 1, and we can tell by it being marked week 1 up in the top right corner. And the very first thing that we ever do when we are going and looking at a map is to look at the title. And in the top right corner, you can see that the title of this map is the contiguous United States. Now, the first thing we need to figure out is what that word contiguous means. And in this case, and in most cases, it means connected. So this is the connected states of America. So that means we're not talking about Hawaii on this map. We're not talking about Alaska on this map because they are not connected to the other states. So the contiguous United States or the connected United States, that's what the focus of this map is. And so we know that from the title. If we look up at the top, we also get a little bit of information that this map is really going to talk about the elements of a map, or elements meaning parts, the parts of a map. And so that makes sense. It's week 1. We're going to kind of focus on the basic parts of it. And so let's take a look. I've already started with my title. That is one of the 5 basic elements or parts of a map. If I scroll down to the bottom, I can see that there's a compass rose, which is just telling me directions. I can see that north is up in this map, south is kind of down, west is to the left, and east is to the right. The compass rose tells me that. Scale is the third of the elements that's on this map, and scale is just used to find distance. And so if I was going to plan a trip from Iowa to Wyoming, I could use that scale to give me a rough idea of how many miles it is between Iowa and Wyoming. The legend. Really, the legend might be the second most important thing that I would look at, or let me put it a different way. I would start by looking at the title of the map, and then I would probably go right to the legend, because the legend is going to give me what the symbols mean, and it's kind of a key. And so I know in this case that the lighter line is the state border. So anything that is a lighter line, I know that's a border between states, and we can see the examples, say, right here around Colorado. And I know a darker line is going to be an international border. So here's an example along Mexico here, and another one along Canada. So 2 different lines, they mean 2 different things. Also, the legend is going to tell me that a small star is a state capital. You can see that in Denver, in Wyoming, in Utah, for example. And the national capital is going to be marked by the larger white star. So that kind of solves a lot of problems right off the bat, just taking a look at the legend. It tells me a lot of information. Now, when we look at a map like this of the United States, we know where the United States is in comparison to the rest of the world. So it's pretty easy for us to figure out this map. But sometimes you don't know exactly the location of where you're talking about. If I were to show you a map of, say, Saudi Arabia right now, you may not know exactly what's around it. And so that's where this 5th item, or this 5th element, an inset map, gives you a little bit of a broader picture. It's kind of a zoomed out version. So I can see that the dark area here is the United States, but I can see what's around it too. I can see Mexico, and I can see Central America. I can see Canada up above it, and it gives me a little bit more of an idea of what we're talking about. So instead of having it so zoomed in, it's more kind of a zoomed out. So that's the map for this week, and now we've got questions. We're going to have 2 questions per day, and if we start looking at this, some of the things that we're going to talk about, let's look at Mondays. Monday says, number 1, name the 5 elements that are shown on the map. That's easy. We just went through those 5 elements, or those 5 parts. So in order to get 100% on this, you just need to write down the 5 things that we just talked about. Number 2 says, what does the title tell you about the map? So again, we'll go right back up to the title, and it tells us that it's part of the connected United States. It's not all 50 states, it's 48 states. That's what it tells us that we're going to be looking at, is the 48 connected states. If we go on to Tuesday, how many states are part of the contiguous United States, and which states are not contiguous? And again, if you've been paying attention to this video, I've already given you that answer. The contiguous are going to be the 48, so there's one answer. And we also will talk about the non-contiguous, and that's what we mentioned at the very beginning. Hawaii and Alaska, they're not really part of the contiguous United States. Of course, they're part of the United States, just not part of the connected states. Number 2, name the cardinal and intermediate directions shown on the compass rose. So right here, the compass rose, the cardinal are going to be what we call the main. So north, south, east, and west. Those are the cardinal or main directions. The intermediates are going to be northwest, northeast, southeast, southwest. And if I went too fast on that, that's a great thing about this video. Pause it. Take your little cursor and scroll it back a little bit. That's the magic of being able to watch this video. If I'm going a little too quickly, make it go at your pace. So there's our answer to cardinal and intermediate, which is Tuesday number 2. Now, again, if you're with me, you know you are 4 out of 4 right now. You've got the 2 Monday questions correct. You've got the 2 Tuesday questions correctly. Now, one of the things I want you to remember when you're doing this, don't go ahead. If you're watching this, say, on a Monday or even over the weekend, say on a Saturday, don't go and do the questions yet. We'll do the questions inside of the classroom. And so if you're watching this on a Monday, don't go and do Tuesday's questions or Wednesday's questions. But this is a good video to watch before the map comes out. And it's a good video to watch on Thursday night, right before we grade it on a Friday. So keep that in mind. Wednesday, number 1, what is another name for a legend? I mentioned kind of a key, and that's a good thing to remember. That's a key, and it also asks what kinds of things are shown on the legend. And in this case, some of the things that are shown are the borders, the capitals, and those types of things. Now, I want to point out something. Number 1 on Tuesday and number 1 on Wednesday both have 2 parts to them, 2 questions. Too often I'll have 6th graders who will make the mistake of having just 1 answer. If there's 2 questions, they'll only have 1 answer, and then they'll miss one because I'll grade this as kind of an all or nothing. Either you have both answers and it's right, or one is wrong, or both are wrong and it's wrong. So if you've got 2 questions, make sure you have 2 answers. Wednesday, number 2, name the 2 countries that border the United States and which elements help to identify them. Well, we talked about that already. We've got Canada to the north, and we've got Mexico to the south. And what helps to identify that is our legend says that dark, bold line is the international border. And I see a dark line here and a dark line there. So that's how I identified the location of those country borders. Thursday, number 1, why is the Inset map of North America included? And again, the Inset map is down here, and that's just to give a zoomed out view, give us a better idea of what's around the particular area that we're talking about. 2, use the scale and a ruler to find the approximate distance from Denver to Lincoln. Measure to the nearest 1/4 inch. So here's Denver, here's Lincoln. Here is a scale that you'd use. If you take a little piece of paper or maybe a sticky note and put the edge of it right here, and then you can mark on another piece or on the same piece right there that's 300 miles. So it's about 300 miles from right here to right here on your piece of paper. And then you just move that piece of paper over from Denver to Lincoln, and you try to get an idea based on that scale how long it is. We'll go over that in class as well. Friday, number 1. Use the scale and ruler to find the approximate distance from Raleigh to Little Rock and then to Austin. So in this case, we're going to be going from Raleigh, which is right here, to Little Rock, which is right here, to Austin, which is right there. So it's going to be the same thing that we did on the first one, but it's going to be a little bit longer, and we're going to need to measure a little bit further. Friday, number 2, use the scale and the ruler to find the approximate distance from the nation's capital to the capital of California. So again, using our legend, we can say the national capital is located with a big white star. So we'll start here. And then we're going to go all the way over here to Sacramento, which shows up as the California capital. And we're going to measure in using our scale again, the distance. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of how to use this map. This is a breakdown giving you a little bit more detail of how to use the map, and I hope that it's helpful to you. These will be posted every week. Those who watch these videos tend to do much better with this using this support than those who don't watch the video. So if your skills are already good, these should be pretty easy, and I'm probably already saying things you know, but for those of you who struggle, this sure is a big help. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next week.